Welcome all of you. Welcome to another video of Maths Made Easy. Now in this video we are going to take up multiplication of integers in detail. Okay, so multiplication of integers will be done in detail in this video. So along with multiplication of integers, we shall also be taking the properties that come with multiplication of integers. So this is from exercise 1B of S Agarwal textbook. Okay, but as I say, you can, if you are following some other textbook, you shall also find exercises based on the same topic in the same order. So if you are following some other textbook, you can listen to this video as well, because the topic will be explained to you and you will be in a position to do the sums from that exercise. Okay, so we are going to start, as I said, with multiplication of integers. Now multiplication of integers is a very simple topic. Okay, it's a very simple topic. It is actually, multiplication of integers, if you see, is simpler than addition and subtraction of integers. Okay, so let's see how simple it is. So here, if I take 5 into 3, now the only difference is when I write 5 into 3 plus 5 into plus 3. You haven't done this when you were doing regular multiplication. So now what we will do is 5 into 5, the number with the number is 15 and the sign with the sign is this. Now what are the signs? Plus into plus, positive into positive is positive, negative into negative is again positive, negative into positive is negative. Okay, positive into negative is negative. Okay, so we are going to do these now. So plus into plus is plus, minus into minus is plus, minus into plus is minus, and also now we are going to do plus into minus is minus. Okay, now here I took an example. So here plus into plus is plus. Let me take 1 with minus into minus into minus. Okay, now 5 into 3 is a 15, minus into minus is a plus. Okay, now let me take minus into plus, 15, and then so number with number write, sign with sign write. So minus with plus, that is going to be minus. Now plus 5 with a minus 3, that is again a minus 15. Plus into minus, I am following this, is minus. So now this is the basic, very basic idea of multiplication of integers. Now this idea will be followed if you are doing variables. Okay, you are working algebraically with variables. If you are working with fractions, even then this is only going to be followed. The rule doesn't change anywhere. Okay, so here let me take multiply 16 by 9. 16 by 9, they are saying multiply. Okay, multiply 16 by 9. Now if no sign is given, it means positive. So 16 into 9, that is plus into plus is a plus, and 16 into 9 is a 144. Okay, so 18, multiply 18 by minus 6. Okay, so here 18 into minus 6 plus into minus is a minus, and 8 6 are 48, 408. Okay, so 18 6 is a 108 minus 108. Okay, now let me take minus 53 by 18. Now this is a little big number, so we'll manage with rough work. So minus with the plus is minus. Now 53 into 18, 24, 2, 42, and a 53 is a 4, 5, 954. Okay, 954. Okay, so minus 954. Now one last one, 0 by minus 23. Any number when multiplied with a 0 is, any number when multiplied with a 0 is what? Is 0 only. So whether this has been taken as positive or negative, you still get a 0 as the answer. Okay, so it is that simple. So number with the number multiply, sign with the sign, follow this rule. Okay, and you get your multiplications correct. Okay, find each of the following. Find each of the following. What is it? It is a continuous product. Okay, 3 into 4 into minus 5. Now what to do? 12 into 5, 60, and plus minus, that is minus. Okay, then another one, let me take minus 60 into minus 10 into minus 5 into minus 1. See, this is again a continued product. This time I have 4 of them. Okay, no problem. You just multiply the numbers 60 with a 10, 600 into a 5. Okay, that is a 3000 into 1. Okay, so 600, 3000, right? And minus. If a minus sign comes even number of times, it is positive. Okay, so minus into minus plus, minus into minus plus, plus into plus. Therefore, even if a minus sign is coming 100 times, it is going to be straight positive. Okay, now that is your answer, plus 3000. Now let me take one sum which looks like this, minus 5 into minus 5. Now these are the sums which come for MCQs. Minus 5 into 5 times. Yes, this is into 5 times. 5. Yes, 5. But you are now thinking into 5 times. Okay, so means 2 more time will come. Okay, so if 2 more times it comes, then it is 5 into 5, 25 into 5, 125 with another 5 is a 625, and so I can write it like this. This is, but let me decide on the sign first. Minus sign is going to come 5 times. Yes, minus sign is going to come 5 times, that means it is going to be a minus. Okay, because odd number of times minus sign is a minus. Now here 25 into 25, 625 into 5. Okay, that comes to 3125 minus. Okay, minus 3125. So that is the answer. So if you get this, they can even write this 100 times. Okay, so, but they will not give 5 in that case, they will give 1. Minus 1 100 times. So 1 into 1 any number of times is a 1, but 100 times makes it a plus 1. Okay, so you will have to check whether this number is odd or even. Accordingly you put the sign. If it is odd, put minus. If it is even, put plus. Okay, so now what will be the sign of the product if we multiply if we multiply 90 negative integers and 9 positive integers. 90 negative integers and 9 positive integers. Now this is a good question. Okay, what is the sign of the product? You really don't know what the numbers are, but then if you multiply 90 of the negatives, it becomes a positive. If you multiply 9 of the positive, it is still a positive. Okay, so positive into positive, because this is even, you get a positive here, and then positive with positive, finally answer sign, final answer is going to be a positive. Okay, now we shall be starting with the properties. We shall be starting with the properties of multiplication. What are the properties of multiplication of integers? Okay, now properties of multiplication, first is we have the closure property. Again, just like we had it for our addition, now we have for multiplication. Now closure property says the same thing. 6 into 5 integer, integer on multiplying another integer only. Therefore, closure property is integers are closed under multiplication. Minus 6 into 5, that also is a minus 30, which is again an integer. 6 into minus 5, even that is an integer. So in multiplying two integers, if I am getting an integer as the result, so I'll have to check this, is this an integer? Then we'll have to say closure property is followed. Okay, or the integers are closed under multiplication. Okay, integers are closed under multiplication. Okay, now let's come to the next property, which is commutative property. Commutative property of multiplication. So, commutative property of multiplication is, see, A into B has to be equal to B into A. If I take an example, 5 into 6 is a 30, 6 into 5 is also a 30. So you change the order, even then it's the same. Okay, or minus 5 into minus 6, 30, or minus 6 into minus 5, even then it is a 30 only. So if you change the order, even then the product remains the same. That is when we call it commutative. We call it commutative property is satisfied. So we'll have to say integers obey commutative property of multiplication. Okay, you must mention of multiplication. Associative property. We had done associative property in addition. Okay, we had done associative property in addition. Now this is associative property on multiplication. So how do we do it? So here it is A into B into C is equal to A into B into C. Okay. So A into B into C is A into B into C. Let me take 5 into 6 into minus 7 maybe. Okay. So that is equal to 5 into minus 42, that is equal to 210. Yes. So now let me take 5 into 6 into minus 7, which is 30 into minus 7, which is minus 210. Okay. So now we have associative property of multiplication is followed correctly. Okay, associative property of multiplication is followed correctly. So here we'll have to see what do we see here. Here B into C is first worked on, and with that the next number is multiplied. Whereas here A into B is multiplied first, with that product the third number is multiplied. So what you associate with what is important. But in both cases we are getting the same answer, means this is equal to this. Therefore associative property of multiplication is followed for integers. Okay. Now let us come to the most important property of this chapter, which is distributive property, and children get it wrong very often. They keep confusing it with associative property. So know the difference correctly. Okay. Now what is distributive property of multiplication over addition? The name is little bit correct. So what is it? Now distributive property of multiplication over addition is, let me take something like 5 into, and note the brackets, this is minus 6 plus minus 8, yeah, and then how much do I get? Okay, 5 into minus 14, yes, okay, 5 into minus 14, because if I open this, minus 6 minus 8, that gives me with integer addition minus 14. 14 into 5 is a 70, plus into minus is a minus, so I get a minus 70. Okay, now the other way of writing this is 5 into minus 6 bracket closed. plus this plus. Okay, then 5 into minus 8, and how much do I get? I get a minus 30 from the first bracket, and then I get a plus minus 40 from the second bracket, which is minus 30 minus 40, which is minus 70 again. So what did I get? I got this one is equal to this one. Okay, so here this repeated, instead of multiplying repeatedly with the same number that I did in the lower row, we are adding them and multiplying together. Okay, now where is it used? What is the usefulness of this? Supposing you buy 5 pencils and you buy 5 pencils. Okay, and 5 pens. 5 pens. Okay, now 5 pencils you buy for, let's say, 6 rupees. Here I am leaving out the minus, and 5 pens you are buying for 8 rupees. Now instead of doing 5 into 6, that is 30, and this is 40, and then adding and making it 70. Okay, what we do is 14 total number of things, because after all the price is same. Total number of things 14 into 5, 70. Okay, so that is, in this distributive property we only learn a shortcut. So here this is, it's like this, it's like this, A into B and a bracket plus C is equal to A into B plus A into C. This is how we can put it. Okay, so A into B plus C is, now split it, A into B, and whatever sign you have here, that sign will come here. That is why we say multiplication here, multiplication over addition, because of this plus. If you have a subtraction sign here, we will say multiplication over subtraction. Okay, so this is what we know by distributive property. Do not confuse this with associative, because associative, very clearly, what is the first method to differentiate between distributive and associative is, in associative you have the same sign, here and here. It's either plus here and plus here, or into here and into here. You don't have two different signs in associative. Fine, that is why an associative is just a shift in brackets, that's all. So don't confuse. As we do sums, you will understand it further better. Let me take this sum which says minus 8 into 9 plus minus 8 into 7. Yes. Okay. This is minus 8. Yes. And now it is 9 plus 7. Okay. So what have I used? I have used distributive property. Okay. This is A into B plus A into C is A into B plus C. Minus 8 into 16. 6 8s are 48, and okay, so 6 8s are 48, 4 and 128. Okay, so this is minus 128. So this is the final answer, but then we took a shortcut. Shall we try by multiplying separately? Let's try minus 72 plus minus 56. Yeah, so minus 72 minus 56. Okay, that is 128 minus. So this is what I have just taken a shortcut by using distributive property of multiplication over addition. Okay, so let's do another sum, very similar one. This is 9 into minus 13 and plus 9 into minus 7. Yeah. So here 9 is the common one. Let me take it outside the bracket. Into, if you put the into, you don't put, it's okay. Okay, because number right before the bracket means multiplication. Minus 13. Okay, and you can write plus minus 7. This way also you can write. Okay. Here it was positive, so we didn't bother to put a bracket. But here, since it is negative, we can put like this. 9 into minus 13 minus 7, which is 9 into minus 20, which is equal to 9 2s are 18, put the 0, and minus 180. So we are using it faster using distributive property. Okay, each time we are using distributive property. You can multiply this and this separately and add it and see, you will still get a minus 180. Okay. Now, three more properties of multiplication, very simple ones. One is multiplicative identity. That is the number with which if you multiply you get back the same number, just like you had 0 for multiplicative additive identity. So here it is always 1. So multiplicative identity is always 1 for the set of integers. Okay, you can take minus a, still into 1 only will give you minus a. Another is multiplicative inverse. Okay, this is multiplicative inverse. Now what is multiplicative inverse? If this is the number with which if you multiply to get a 1, that is multiplicative inverse. What is that number with which if you multiply a to get a 1, that is always 1 by a. So if I take an example, 2 into 1 by 2 is always a 1. So multiplicative inverse is nothing but the reciprocal, okay, of the number. So if I take another example here, minus 5, what makes it 1? Okay, so into minus 1 by 5. Into minus 1 by 5, that makes it 1. Now remember, if the number has a negative sign, okay, then the reciprocal also should have a negative sign in order to get the 1. So the multiplicative inverse will also have a negative sign if the number itself has a negative sign. Okay. Now let's do the last one, which is last property of integers, that is property of 0. Nothing much, but it says property of 0. Now what is that? It simply means a into 0 is 0 into a is equal to 0. Means anything you multiply with any 0 you multiply with any integer, it is always going to give you a 0. Okay, so that is called, so 8 into 0 is a 0 into 8, which is 0. That's as simple. You can take a minus also. Okay, that is a 0. Okay, so this is the whole idea of the property of 0. So let's do a few sums based on this. Minus 6 into dash is 6. Now what is this going to be? Okay, what is it going to be? Minus 6 into what can give you a 6 into minus 1, isn't it? Okay, then minus 18 into what is a minus 18. Now this is using what? Which property is it using? It is using multiplicative identity. Okay, then minus 5 into 3, okay, and the bracket is closed like this, okay, into minus 6 is equal to something in a bracket plus and then a bracket into 3 into minus 6 bracket closed. Okay, note that since we are using negative numbers, we are using the bracket here. Okay, so what should we write in this blank and which property is it? So we have to write here a minus 5 and the property that we used is associative, right? Associative for multiplication, right? Associative property for multiplication, right? Now let's take another one. Minus 5 into dash is equal to 0. Clearly it is the property of 0. Okay, so this is the property of 0. Now remember, sometimes they ask you to fill in the blank and they will also ask you to write down the property. Now here 7 with a minus 3, that is equal to minus 3 into dash. What is this now? Now this is equal to 7, right? It is equal to 7. Why is it equal to 7? Because we are practically doing commutative, right? Commutative property of multiplication of integers. Okay, commutative property of multiplication of integers. Okay, so with that we complete exercise 1b. Okay, this is the second exercise in integers. Exercise 1b we complete the multiplication of integers exercise. Okay, we shall be continuing in the next video with division of integers. So in this video we had the properties of multiplication of integers and also the multiplication, how do you do multiplication of integers. So if you have liked the video, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Also leave a comment behind. I always say this. Okay, also leave a comment behind if you like the videos. Okay, so and please watch the videos. I'm naming them as part 1, part 2, exercise 1 and exercise 2, like that I name them. So please keep watching the videos serially as I upload them. Okay, then bye all of you.